when you know what to do but still don't do it. And what I'd like to do is to propose some strategies and ideas to assist you to get over that limiting self-sabotage that so often features when we're trying to break free from our limitations. Very often, when doing the right thing is necessary, it may feel dangerous or risky because it's new. And one of the major challenges that we face is knowing that we've got to do the right thing, but overcoming the challenges and the limitations that we feel when we try to. Because if we don't do the right thing when we're supposed to, the result is second guessing and chaos. And of course, the more second guessing and chaos that happens, the less likely we are to do something with clarity, purpose, and decisiveness. In short, we can become our own worst enemies when it comes to breaking free from the limiting factors that have brought us to where we are now. When you need to get something done but fail to commit, it can be for a number of reasons. I'm going to itemize 4 main ones. Each time you experience one of these 4 main reasons for limitations, what you're doing is turning up your own emotional thermostat. Once you understand that your limitations are increasing the stress and the fight and flight mode within yourself, then you can work out ways to combat this, challenge your own thinking, and step by step turn down your emotional thermostat so that you can get back to cool. Imagine, if you will, that under normal circumstances your emotional thermostat is set reasonably low. Nothing is stressing you, nothing is hassling you. You're not having to deal with strange new situations. When you are challenged and when you are confronted with new ideas and new decisions that need to be made, often there are 4 main dials which turn up and raise the emotional temperature for you. And the 4 ways that your emotional thermostat can be raised are overthinking, procrastination, avoidance, and second guessing. And once you start engaging in those processes, the chances that you're going to move forward with clarity and decisiveness become incrementally less. What happens now is that you've increased your emotional heat, and as a result, you're expending more energy on feeling guilty or second guessing yourself than you are on taking any purposeful steps or engaging in any clarity of thought. So what can we do to turn down the emotional thermostat? Well, let's have a look at some of the ways that we can tackle some of the challenges you may have faced. If this resonates with you, I'd like you to write MOVE in the comments below. I will find a way to get in touch with you and suggest some of the resources that I have developed, and perhaps we can open a correspondence. But for now, let's look at some ways that we can employ strategies to lower that emotional thermostat. So just to recap, what we need to do is we need to reframe the situation in order to gain better clarity. Don't confuse being overloaded with being confused. The overload that you've experienced, the overheating on the thermostat, this is all perfectly natural if you haven't developed strategies to combat it. So how can we engage in a useful strategic reframe and pull ourselves out of the heat and get the emotional thermostat down so that we can make better decisions and act upon them? The reframe requires a certain amount of understanding about what's going on in your brain when you are challenged and stressed. The brain is wired to protect your identity. The problem we have here is that if your identity is dysfunctioning on some level, sabotaging you, then the very thing that your will is protecting is the very thing that is causing you to fail. So we have to reframe and we have to liberate ourselves from the negative voices and the negative identity that we've established for ourselves. When you're confused, if challenged, it's because you're going into fight or flight mode. And of course, fight or flight mode are both emotional responses which require a certain amount of emotional energy. So once again, we're back to the thermostat getting cranked up. And you're spending and expending more calorific energy in trying to wrestle with your confusion, your second guessing, than you are putting into the decisions that you need to make. You may be concerned about your safety. You may second guess yourself about the threats to your income. You may consider that if you make a particular choice, it's going to damage your reputation. Well, you have to liberate yourself from those problems because, in short, you don't have to threaten your income by making a single decision. You don't have to worry about your reputation because, frankly, not that many people are that interested. And you certainly don't have to worry about your safety. You're in a safe space now, and when you make a decision for yourself, I dare say you will still be in a safe place. The one thing I'd like you to take away from this is that by knowing how to make one decision, you are now taking charge and you are now able to turn down the heat on your emotional thermostat. So what kind of decisions do we have to make? Do they have to be massive and large, or can there be small, compounding, incremental decisions? I'd suggest to you that it's the latter. We can take control and we can neutralize confusion, second guessing, and fight or flight by making very small, single-step decisions and getting into the habit of doing that on a regular basis. So let's have a look at some examples of how that can be achieved. Well, let's start the reset properly by reiterating these ideas. You are safe. Your income is safe. And your reputation is safe. And once you realize that the negative voices which are threatening you with these vague ideas is not telling you the truth, is simply trying to protect an identity you've formed, but which is not serving you very well, then it's time for you to wrestle with those demons for real and to get into a more productive, assertive, and strategic mode. So let's have a look at some of those ideas now and get ourselves out of the confusion and into some clarity. If we're accepting that certain behaviors and certain emotions have got us where we are, maybe it's time to change some of those behaviors and neutralize some of those emotions and turn the thermostat down. So instead of asking what is the right decision, ask yourself, what is the basic first step that I can take? Instead of trying to second guess everything in the universe, trying to seek out the best solution, create the best solution by starting momentum. And you start that momentum by taking a single first step. And it doesn't have to be significant in size, only significant in intention. Get into the habit of asking yourself, what is the basic first move I can make to reclaim my agency? And you may find that you are asking this question 20, 30, 50 times a day because you encounter 20, 30, 50 different situations which, if left to their own devices, compound your confusion. What you're seeking to do is to establish your own agency over your decision making. What you're seeking to do is to take valuable first steps in order to create momentum. Rome wasn't built in a day. A cathedral isn't built with one single hammer blow. What you're doing is you are compounding your efforts and compounding your ability to take decisive steps. And by so doing this, you are increasing the clarity of thinking that you're applying to all of the given situations that you encounter. So instead of asking what's the next best decision I must make, ask yourself what is the first step I can take, however small. Whether it's write that email, whether it's tick off that to-do list, whether it is make that call, whether it is to extend yourself and help somebody in some small way, whether it is to practice gratitude. Take one small step towards your intentions. Develop, cultivate, and create your own purpose in life, and neutralize the negativity and the confusion. Just to recap before I sign out, remember that confusion lies in four main ways. There are four main ways that you can turn up the emotional heat on your thermostat unnecessarily. There is overthinking, there is procrastination, there is avoidance, and there is second guessing. By taking a small, decisive step, you are now reducing your emotional heat. You're turning down your emotional thermostat by doing simple, small actions. If you get into the habit of doing this in a repetitive manner, you're going to find that you get more agency and autonomy in your life. You're going to be able to take charge of yourself, because like all skill sets and all habits, if you start cultivating them and building on them, they will become eventually second nature to you. I hope that this is useful to you, and I hope that you are able to take on board some of the statements I'm making to you. And before I go, I'd just like to leave you with this parting thought. Whatever it is that you dare to do or dream, begin it now.